Excellent. So let's get started. So thanks again for joining today. I'm definitely excited about being here and showing you and really talking to you about the tactical guide for building a PMO. I just want to give a little bit more of my background. I'm trying to advance the slide here. There. So I have 26 years of hands-on experience. So this is a little bit more. So I've been working at Microsoft for the last 10 years. I've worked at AT&T Wireless for 5 years, running a large PMO in their data warehouse there. I worked in the government in British Columbia and the government in Seattle, Washington for a couple of years. Very active in PMI, very active in giving back. I've spoken at multiple conferences for PMI. I've been teaching, as Jessica said, since 2008 at Bellevue College in their Project Management Certificate program. I'm also the president of the Microsoft Project Users Group, and I also work very closely with the project team at Microsoft, so I'm very active between that team as well. I've actually written 3 books, so the Tactical Guide for Building a PMO, one we're going to talk about today, Project Management Communication Tools, and back in 2008, as Jessica said, the Project Management Communication Bible. Very active on Twitter, Facebook, projectmanagement.com. LinkedIn, I have 2 groups based on the 2 books I've written where I put up chapters and we talk about various things. And then several articles on projecttimes.com as well. And definitely go look me up there. There's a couple articles on Gordon Ramsay. I put an article up on him. So go look at me. Go look at my articles on projecttimes.com as well. So very active, very out in the community, and always trying to give back and really share my knowledge within the PMO and project management space. So we've got a pretty packed agenda today, so it's very interactive. I'm going to be watching the chat sessions as well, and so we've got 3 things we're going to cover: building a PMO, steps to building a PMO, and then we'll do a wrap-up. So 3 action-packed, lots of interactions, and let's get started. So when you think about building a PMO, you really have to think about the various stages in building this PMO, right? Building a PMO is not easy and it's not quick. Many times executives will say, hey, we need a PMO. And the first PM that they see walking down the hall actually becomes the PMO manager, right? I actually call them the accidental PMO manager. So regardless of how you get there or how you're in the position of actually building a PMO, you've got to do it in an organized fashion. Exactly what I've done. What I've done is I've put together the 12 steps to building or enhancing a PMO. So step 1 is you start with a plan. Step 2 is obtain executive support. Step 3 is create your PMO staples. Step 4 is select your 4 Ps of your PMO, including your methodology. Step 5 is selecting your PMO model. Step 6 is selecting your PMO model, maturity model, which includes categories and measurements, and we'll talk about that. Step 7 is obtain your PMO resources. 8 is select your PMO training. 9, implement your PMO methodologies. Select your PMO reporting. Select your PMO tools and processes. And then finally, step 12 is your PMO is complete. Now, I'm going to give you a minute to look at this because this is actually in order. So regardless if you're building a PMO or you're enhancing a PMO, you're walking into building a PMO, these are the things that you're going to want to do in this particular order. And so as we go through this, you're going to see on how it builds upon one another. Take a screenshot or however you want to take that or take that down. But I really just wanted to pause briefly only because it's really specifically in order. Ton of steps there, right? There's a ton of work to creating a PMO, and so we really have to, kind of walk through exactly how you do it, and we're about to do that, but just appreciate there's a ton of work there. So let's jump into it. So step 1 is start with a plan. So nothing starts without a plan. Every PMO or project manager has a plan, and building a PMO, you'll need a plan as well. And this is something you don't take lightly, right? This is something that you really want to build, and you really want to get this into a schedule, and you want to be able to report off that. So you want to be structured and organized in how you build your PMO. And really what I say is, let's get a WBS together. Let's get a project schedule together, right? Doesn't have to be perfect. It can be high level. But then you tweak along the way. So I use Project. There's a million scheduling tools out there. It doesn't matter which one you use, but get it in there. So build a PMO build schedule. I've actually done that for this book that I've written, and it's up there. It's online. It's free. You guys can go get it. But building a PMO schedule will allow you to track this like a big project. And this is a huge project. And so getting the tasks, getting them in there, like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect, but get the big WBSs in there based on the 12 steps we just talked about specifically, and then start tracking like a project. Start adding start dates and end dates, start adding resources to it, and really start building this as a huge project. One of the things that you're going to find, though, is executives will not go through a 200-line or 150-line MPP file or a project schedule file. They're just not going to want to do it. So you're going to want to view your project in a WBS type of view. You can still report off it. You can expand these. You can put start dates and end dates, and you can put resources. You can see where they're tracking and where they're running late. But you're going to want to put a WBS view. You're not going to want to put a schedule view. They're just not going to look at it. There's not many executives, leadership, management that wants to go through an MPP file. So are you guys using work breakdown structures? Have you guys seen those? Okay. So yeah, so definitely work breakdown structures are a great view from a management perspective to kind of change the dynamics and change the discussions. And so, yeah, it's definitely a view that you're going to want to use. Now, I recommend a tool, WBS Schedule Pro. It's one that you can add on to project, but it gives you this exact view. And so, again, having a WBS view is a great way to talk to management. Great. So step 2 is executive support. So when you think about executive support, it's critical in developing a PMO. Without executive support, you're going to struggle to be successful. You're just not going to be successful. So you really do need that executive support. And so this is a must-do, right? This is not a nice-to-have. This is not something that, hey, I'll get to sometime down the line. This is something that you're going to need immediately. And what I strongly suggest you do is actually get 1 or 2 executives. Don't just stand and get 1 executive, because 1 will not be enough for you. Executives come and go all the time, right? They come and go all the time, and without that support and with 1 executive leaving on you and you only have 1 person, you're going to be in a huge trouble. And so get the first person, but then actively work on getting the second person as well. And so if 1 leaves, you still have another backup. But it's something that you as a PMO manager, you working in a PMO, you're going to be constantly working on and constantly driving anyway, is getting that executive support. And because they come and go so frequently, I've actually called it the PMO cycle. And so what I say here is basically PMOs start up. You get that smile, you get that handshake, and everything as a PMO manager, you are on top of the world. You get resources, you get money, you get whatever you can, but it's going to last 3 to 5 years. That tends to be the same cycle as what executives last. 3 to 5 years comes and goes, in that range, it gets a little bit blurry, right? You don't get that same smile, you don't get that same handshake, and what happens? The PMO shuts down. Now, do the project managers go away? No. Program managers go away? No. But that organization and that structure and how you deliver, that definitely goes away until something happens. And then some executive gets a bright idea, and what do you think they do? They start up another PMO. Now, have you guys seen this before? You guys seen this PMO cycle? Yeah? Yeah, I've lived and breathed this 5 times. So I have personally started up and shut down 5 PMOs in my current company, and I'm running another one. So this happens, right? And as a PMO manager or someone even working in a PMO, you're going to live and breathe this. You're going to experience this. Now, as a tactical program manager or tactical project manager, it'll probably be fine. Your projects will continue, but the organization, the structure, that all goes away. And it's just something you live with, and something that you just in this environment, in this PMO world, this is what happens.